This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's the week of July 24th, 2020, and it's the Relevant Podcast. In Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Austin, Texas, it's author and podcaster Jamie Ivey.
Hey, guys.
And from Nashville, Tennessee, artist and producer, entrepreneur, mogul, Derek Miner.
Yeet.
We have a great show in store for you today. Coming up, we have the director of the new film, Good Trouble, which tells the story of John Lewis, the late, great John Lewis. Don Porter is joining us. And we also have author John Kingston coming up later on the show.
Good lineup. That's a good lineup.
Good lineup.
Good lineup.
Yeah.
I thought you said Sean Kingston, the dude that used to sing the reggae. You remember that dude?
Yeah, it is. He hard turn left. He got into finance, politics, and now he's authoring the new American Awakening book.
I am glad that we're having someone come on and talk about the life and legacy of John Lewis, who we lost this week. What an incredible figure in American history. And when he first kind of rose to prominence, he was in his early 20s, and and to have been a leader for that long, for decades, and having it being a major voice in American politics, but also kind of American social life. What an impressive legacy. So
can I tell you something sad? The we knew he was public about the fact that he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, but he was still serving in Congress. He was still living a full life. In fact, during the Black Lives Matter protests, he was out. He was participating as he always has. I think he's been arrested 45 times in his life. And the phrase "good trouble" is like, he said, like, sometimes you need to get into good trouble, to make positive change, which is life personified. A little behind the scenes, we book these interviews way out. We knew the Good Trouble release date was coming up. We were working with the studio, and we were scheduled to not only have director Don Porter be interviewed, but also John Lewis was going to be on the show.
Wow. Oh, man.
And 2 days before the interview, he had to cancel. And then a week later, he passed away. And we found out, obviously, after the fact, why he had to cancel. But John Lewis was going to be on the show. But the conversation with Don Porter is about his life and legacy, and their documentary is fantastic. So, you don't want to miss it.
Love it.
Jesse, before we get going, we have a big hot list. Tyler's coming in as well.
Okay.
With big hot list, a lot of stuff happening on the entertainment side. Tyler's bringing it this week. We don't really cover it, but we got to mention it. Sports is like back.
Yes.
This week coming up, all the sports. All the sports are back.
So excited.
I have a pitch to the commissioners of all major sports. That and I'm going to give this one for free. Adam Silver, Roger Goodell, you guys don't even need to pay me for this.
Okay.
Because I feel like the anxiety a lot of people are having for sports. Well, first off, on the top of the list is obviously, the safety of the players and the staff. But it seems like leagues are really trying to do everything they can to kind of ramp up testing, put players in these sort of bubbles so there's very limited chances they could be exposed to the virus if they are currently testing negative. If someone's, testing positive, they can be quarantined and kind of be monitored and then be back on the playing field once they recover. But the caveat to all of this is they're going to be playing games in the next couple of days across, baseball starts up, it started up this week. The NBA is playing kind of, a version of sort of preseason games as they're coming into their season starting. And it's only a matter of time before football in some way is going to be back. But here's the awkward part. There's no fans. Okay.
No fans.
So we're going to be watching these games. And it's going to be empty arenas, and it's going to be weird and depressing. Okay, let's just call it what it is. So I have a couple of things that I am going to suggest that was going to make it a little less weird. Okay, Like, one, in basketball, let's go ahead and just alter the rules. Let's just, like, if it's going to be a weird game anyway, like, let's go, like, I want there to be like walls around the court. There's no bleachers. There's no reason to play just in a big empty stadium.
Okay.
Put walls off and allow you to pass the ball off the walls.
Oh.
Like,
arena football, like back
It's
in
like
the day
a
when they
wall
would
pass, like not a bounce
modify.
pass. Yeah.
and it levels the playing field because no one's going to know how to do it, including the good teams.
I like it.
The other one
So
is
you
like,
want to go rock and jock. You want to go MTV rock and jock. Just add a 5-pointer. Just like mix up the game. Yeah.
The spirits of America need to be lifted. And what was more fun back in the day than seeing a cast member from, the Real World and, the guy who played Theo Huxtable jacking up 9-pointers from deep, from deep. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like, so but I can see them not doing that. But I thought of another solution too, because Cameron, as you know, I've thought of a lot of ways to alter rules of sports to make them even better, including some ways that I don't even know if are currently against the rules. I've told you this many times. I've scoured the NBA rulebook and basketball on all levels. And I actually tried this when I coached at on the intramural level, where I had one player go on top of the shoulders of another player, and I had a 9-foot tall behemoth. Sure, I was playing 4-on-5, but no one could get up there. And guess what? The refs made me stop, but I argued. Show me in the rule book where I can't do this. Show me in the rule book where I can't create a Superman.
You really did that?
Yes. And I selected players. I was like, you're on the team, pal. You're the base. Yeah, I need someone with a strong trunk.
Some good
And then
shoulders.
I need someone that's sort of, spry on your shoulders, and you're just going to sit there and we're just going to toss it to you. But rule changes aside, here's one thing that we could improve it. Okay. Because let's say they do want to keep some stands open and you want some audience noise. These players, the league should require them to get their parents in the bubble. So now we got all these crazy sports parents yelling at each other. What's the best part of going to a little league game? It's not
the parents.
It is.
It's absolutely the
thank you.
parents.
You guys have all been. It is in no way the play. Like, let's just be honest. Children's sports at a lot of levels is barely watchable. Okay. But you watch these parents and they're acting like it's game 7 of the NBA finals every play. Can you imagine how like hyped up some of these NBA parents are? Get them out there arguing with each other. Like, put them in the bubble and let's have some real family drama here. They get some reality. Have a reality show twist. I think get crazy sports parents in the stands and give us some some drama to watch. What do you guys?
So the
think?
NBA in particular, this podcast on the 24th, the NBA games will be starting this coming week, right? So when we're recording this, we haven't seen. I've heard and I've read that they do have some plans to enhance the broadcasts and make kind of augment the lack of fan participation. My hope, I know this is true. Other players can attend the games, and they don't have anything else to do.
Okay.
So like NCAA tournament style, you'll see other teams like in the stands watching and scouting and whatever, hanging out. My hope is that they mic those other players and we get to hear the trash talk from the stands to the players on the court. That's my hope. Who knows? Maybe that's one of the things that the league has.
So I was told that they're going to use the NBA 2K sound effects in the game.
In the broadcast?
Yeah. It's like the crowd noise.
I hope
Please do that. I need the NBA to try that one time. All I need is another announcer to say he's on fire. Like, I need that.
He's heated up. Boom, shot. Well, here's what I think would be great. Because I saw Steven Adams. He's a player for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
He's amazing too. I love that.
Yeah, he's this big New Zealander. Really fun guy to watch. And he was being interviewed, and he said his concern is there's going to be a lot more technicals because, the average NBA stadium is pretty loud, especially in Oklahoma City. That's a big fan base. That's a, real hype fan base there. And so players can say things on the court and nobody hears it. He said he's afraid there's going to be a lot of technicals because they always talk behind the ref's back. Now the referees are going to be like the parents in the front of the minivan. You know what I mean?
I heard you.
What'd you just say? What did you say back there? You said something. No, I didn't say anything. Yeah, we'll turn it around. We'll stop the game right now, Steven Adams. What'd you just say? Say it to my, like, it's going to create all this tension, and screaming parents in the stands would just resolve all of this.
Oh, okay. Well, I just got an email from the University of Texas because we have season tickets to the football games, and I've been like wondering, what are they going to do?
Right.
And they offered, the email was like, you can either get a refund for this year, or you can have your seats, but they're going to rearrange it to where the stadium's at 50% capacity.
Interesting.
So I was talking with my husband, Aaron, about it last night. I'm like, do we want to go to a football game? Because it feels like that would be, you lose so much. They take half the crowd out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm in a predicament. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should get my money back. Does that make me a fair weather fan? Or should I go?
My Orlando Magic rep implied that when the new season comes back in December, that there will be some sort of arrangement like that for the next season of the NBA.
So would you want to go to a game when it's normally crazy, all the sounds, and it's 50%?
My entire role at a game is to yell at the players and to get into their heads. So if you're saying the crowd is going to be half as loud, I got a much better chance.
But I don't have I don't have seats that close to the players. Let's be honest.
But if it's half the crowd, you can yell from further away, and you're gonna
going to a half full stadium is like my dream because they're they cram them in there. You know,
sure,
every time you got to get up, I got to crawl across 5 people. My arms are basically touching people the whole time.
I love it.
They're tiny seats. Why not give me a social distance comfort pod, right? Just let me like put my, it's like one of those fancy chairs that you can buy at like Sharper Image that like Tom Haverford and John Ralphio put through the lobby of Entertainment 720. Just giant weird shaped chairs where it prohibits like other people's breath from going in there and just space it out a little.
I guess parking will be amazing. Like that's the worst part. Parking's going to be amazing.
I'm hearing the theme parks here in Orlando have reopened, like all of them, and
which is crazy because Florida is crazy right now.
But Disney and the other parks are doing a thing where you have to have a reservation, and they are significantly limiting the number of people. It's like 20% of the normal capacity.
Yeah.
So I've had friends who have gone, and they've said it is the absolute best experience that they've had at the parks because there's no lines. They went on every major ride 3 or 4 times, and there's no crowds. There's nobody. The whole place seems empty. Like you have the park to yourself. If that's going to happen at sports, that's like a dream world.
Okay.
I love it.
Here, can I throw out one more idea? I need it,
Jesse. Let's go.
Okay. Like, I feel like all the sports leagues are in the same boat right now. Everyone's like, how is this going to work? Are people going to watch? Are people going to care? I'll tell you right now, they need to all join together and say, listen, there has to be at least one player from a different sport on the field at all times. So all of a sudden, you got Giannis out there playing ice hockey. Okay. And all the sports are into it too. Like, I want the largest offensive lineman ever out there in the tee box, just driving it 600 yards. I want to see.
Listen, LeBron James playing football would be crazy though.
Easy.
And
that would be crazy.
I would make him kick, though.
I would make him kick. Sure. You'd make him kick?
Yeah, because kicking's super hard. Kicking a football is really hard. And I want to see someone who's good at everything not be good at something. So you'd be
like Charlie Brown.
Some people just want to see the world burn, man.
Listen, it's 4th and 3, and we're 62 yards out. We're going for it, baby. We're going for the long ball.
Got LeBron.
We're gonna put 3 on the board, LeBron.
I love it. Moving the show along.
I want to tell you guys something. Can I tell you guys something?
Please.
Okay, speaking of athletes, reality TV, y'all know I told y'all a couple weeks ago about the show that my friend Emmanuel Acho was doing. Called Uncomfortable
I
told you about it.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. I tried to get him to come on the show, and he's too busy because apparently him and Oprah are friends now, which is crazy. My family and I were on the latest episode 6. It came out Tuesday night, and my whole family sat down with him and talked about kids and everything. Talked about white parents raising Black children in America.
Wow.
It was so good, and I was so nervous.
How did you feel as a parent putting your children and your family dynamic on camera like that?
Yeah, we asked all the kids, and anyone could have said no, and then the whole thing would have been gone. They all said yes. I was really nervous going in because we didn't know all the questions he was going to ask, which is that's the normal, right? Like, it's not a big deal. And I was nervous for my kids. Like Aaron and I, my husband, we can handle hard conversations. We do this all the time. Bring anything at us. But like my 12-year-old and my 15-year-old, and they were champs, you guys. You have to watch it. I left there so freaking proud of them. And then when I knew the show was going to come out on Tuesday, I was nervous all day. Like, this is what I was nervous about. People on the internet. I was worried about people coming after my kids.
Oh my goodness.
I texted you, Derek, that and told you that. Like, I'm nervous. People are going to come after my kids.
And I told you that I'll beat anyone up that does that.
It's been great. And I saw the episode, and it's just really good. I'm so proud of my kids.
Where can people watch it?
You can go to Emmanuel's Instagram page. It's on my Instagram page. It's on his YouTube. Any of those places.
Awesome. We will
it was fun.
That.
Very cool.
All right. Well, moving the show along, it is time for...
It's the hot list. The hot list. It's sizzling.
Whose voice is that? I need to know.
My brother, Chandler String. Welcome to the show, our senior editor, Tyler Huckabee, bringing us a few items that we've been covering over at Relevant this week.
Hey, everybody.
Derek, you should know that the original version of that jingle is over 6 minutes long and can contain some lyrics that are deeply, deeply unsettling. So
I want you to send those to me today. Like, I need the full track.
That version's the only usable.
Yeah, that's the only usable 7-second clip of a very NSFW song. Yeah.
I had to send Chandler back to the editing house like 12 times. And each time we lost a minute.
Guys, I took a swing here. It's kind of a modern day Song of Solomon type of deal. So here we go.
I don't know how the palm tree and the coconuts factored into the hot list, but you know.
It's
all right. All right. Go ahead, Tyler.
All right. So the first thing, we're going to start talking about something that is a little serious, but it is on everybody's mind. And we want to be very careful here in how we talk about this because we don't want to get too lurid or anything like that. But obviously, the Kanye West saga has another chapter in it. And this is something that is really tough to talk about, has always been difficult to talk about. It is part of the relevant bit. Kanye's been very openly making an attempt to make faith a very a key part of his music output, of his creative energy. Then that obviously turned into a presidential campaign, which we talked about a couple of times over the last few weeks. And then over the past couple of days, or last weekend and the early part of this week, things really took a turn for something very, very serious as Kanye went on a couple Twitter rants online in which he said some things that were just frankly very concerning and sort of disturbing, made some accusations about infidelity towards his wife, said some things about his own career, about his family, about his in-laws, and the ways he feels like he's trying to be controlled. And it's very difficult to know exactly what is going on here. We're not going to psychoanalyze Kanye West. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I don't feel equipped to armchair psychoanalyze Kanye from out here. But I think it sounds like people who are close to Kanye are understandably a little bit concerned about him. And he's talked a lot about his bipolar disorder in the past and how that's been a part of his life, part of his struggle. And so that's an important context to be aware of here when we talk about some of these things. I think people were very concerned. And then on Tuesday, thank goodness, a good friend of Kanye's and somebody we're very familiar with, Dave Chappelle, sounds like he dropped everything, flew across the country to be with Kanye at their ranch up in Wyoming with some friends. And if you're familiar with Dave Chappelle's story, then you're aware that he has some familiarity with struggling with the public spotlight as well. So it was good to see that he could go up there and probably bring some experience to what Kanye is going through. And then on Wednesday morning, Kim Kardashian West released a statement. And I do want to it's a little bit of a long statement, but I do want to read it in its entirety because I think it's very interesting and very, very important. And we've talked a lot about Kim on here. Everybody has a lot of opinions about Kim. It's hard not to. She's been in the public spotlight all of her life. But let me just read the statement that she put out to you all. She said this: "As many as you know, Kanye has bipolar disorder. Anyone who has this or has a loved one in their life who does knows how incredibly complicated and painful it is to understand. I have never spoken publicly about how this has affected us at home because I'm very protective of our children and Kanye's right to privacy when it comes to his health. But today I feel like I should comment on it because of the stigma and misconceptions about mental health. Those that understand mental illness or even compulsive behavior know that the family is powerless unless the member is a minor. People who are unaware or far removed from this experience can be judgmental and not understand that the individual themselves have to engage in the process of getting help, no matter how hard family and friends try. I understand Kanye is subject to criticism because he is a public figure, and his actions at times can cause strong opinions and emotions. He is a brilliant but complicated person who, on top of the pressures of being an artist and a Black man who experienced the painful loss of his mother and has to deal with the pressure and isolation that is heightened by his bipolar disorder. Those who are close with Kanye know his heart and understand his words sometimes do not align with his intentions. Living with bipolar disorder does not diminish or invalidate his dreams and his creative ideas, no matter how big or unobtainable they may feel to some. That is part of his genius, and as we have all witnessed, many of his big dreams have come true. We as a society talk about giving grace to the issue of mental health as a whole. However, we should also give it to the individuals who are living with it in times when they need it the most. I kindly ask that the media and public give us the compassion and empathy that is needed so that we can get through this. Thank you for those who have expressed concern for Kanye's well-being and for your understanding. With love and gratitude, Kim Kardashian West. I don't feel super well equipped to speak into, I don't have a family member who's struggled with this or anything like that. But I don't think anybody probably and ever has been in the position that Kim finds herself in right now. And all things considered, I think that's a awfully thoughtful and gracious statement to put out in the midst of all of this.
Absolutely. And for us, over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about it here on the podcast, but on our Relevance Instagram, hey, he's running. No, he's not running. He's running. And I've archived all of those posts. I've removed them because this isn't him running for president and whatever. That breakdown that he had in Charleston at a rally last week where he was crying about abortion and different things, it was very clear that this man's struggling, and we don't take that lightly, and we're not going to armchair analyze him. And we just wanted to bring that update because we thought Kim's statement was very compassionate and well said, and we all just need to pray for him.
He deleted these tweets, but I don't know if you guys saw these, but he says, Chris and Kim put out a statement without my approval. That's not what a wife should do. White supremacy. Meek is my man and was respectful. That's my dog. Kim was out of line. I'm worth $5 billion and more than that through Christ. But y'all ain't listening to MJ, and now y'all believe them. They tried to fly 2 doctors into 5150 me. I've been trying to divorce Kim since Kim met with Meek at the Ward-Off for prison reform. I got 200 more to go. This my lady tweeted tonight. Chris Jong-un, Lil Baby, my favorite rapper, but won't do a song with me. This is the thing, man, for me. Now, I personally know people with bipolar disorder. I know multiple people, actually, that are really close to me. But the hard thing for me, and the hard thing for me right now is that he has an album coming out. And I'm it seems like these rants only come during that time. So I'm not saying that he's faking. But whoever's around him
is letting it go on more.
The pressure, because as an artist, there's a lot riding on every album that you put out, every single time. And when I tell you it's a high pressure situation, because one, you have, that's your babies. Every song I write, that's literally just how you felt when you, not exactly how you felt, but when you felt when you went on a manual show and you're like, man, if people start talking about my kids, so when you put your songs out, those are pieces of your heart, your soul. And when you put that out, it's a lot of pressure, but then it's the pressure that, I literally had a dude said, that's why your career has been in the same place for 10 years. People attack your career when they feel like your music isn't as good and all that. So you have all of that pressure, and it feels like somebody is not helping him manage this high stress, high pressure situation around this time because it drums up a level of attention. I honestly, that's how it feels a little bit, because I'm why? If he's struggling, why do people manage it before, but then the rails come off during the album? I'm not putting blame on anyone. I just feel like it's really And it's really sad, you know, because it's two things here.
Almost like people taking advantage of him. You mean like the people who will profit. The people who will profit from this are allowing this to happen. Yeah.
Yes, there's multiple scenarios here, and none of them are good. Scenario number one is he's having a breakdown, a mental breakdown. Scenario number two is he's not having a breakdown, and this is all for publicity. Scenario number three is he's having a breakdown, and the people around him are letting him have this publicly for whatever reason it is, for whatever reason. You know what I mean? And it's just, Kanye is literally my favorite artist. He is. If I had a bucket list of people that I wanted to meet and just sit and just listen to him and understand and like Kanye spoke to me in college when he wrote College Dropout. Like, cause I felt the same way, but I just hate to watch this unfold. And I hate that, you know, the timing of how it is. Like, and I really, you know, I'll say this again, Kanye is literally my favorite artist. But if the pressure of putting out albums is driving Kanye to this level, I would rather him not ever put out an album again and just get help, get healed. Like it seems like he's on the journey, you know, and that faith is helping him there. I want him to just take a chill pill and just enjoy life. Man, you did it, bro. You conquered fashion. You conquered music. You did it, bro. I just want you to just relax, and work on you. Like, that's, if I could talk to him right now, that's what I would say, bro. Like, I just want you to just work on you. Like, the world needs you to be healthy. Like, you know what I mean? Not more products.
If you think about like other artists, like Rihanna, like Rihanna has evolved her career, and she's not trying to put out the hits like she was 15 years ago, because she's got Fenty and other outlets for creative opportunities and challenges. It's almost like I feel like, and again, I'm not going to analyze Kanye, but it's like maybe he's spread too thin. He's got like too many plates spinning. Yeah. And they're all high stakes, right? Yes. Multi-billion-dollar industries and companies and expectations. And I don't know how any one person could do what he's attempting to do. And that's part of his genius. But at the same time, if you're struggling with mental health and you have people around you that maybe don't have your personal best interests in mind because they're wanting to profit off of you, that's a tough situation. And paranoia is a natural tendency for a lot of people who struggle with mental health. And, you know, now you don't know who you can trust and you lash out. And it's just, it's tough to watch it play out publicly. And that's what's so heartbreaking about it, you know?
You know, Tyler, when you first started, I didn't know anything that you just said about what happened over the weekend. But you started and I was like, I hope this is not another story about Kanye West. Like, literally, are we still talking about this? And I almost said that out loud. And then when you started reading Kim's response, I'm like, Jamie, way to not say that, because her response, it helps everyone go, okay, we're talking about real life people here. Yeah. Like, we just
real
see
families,
like
real kids.
We think like Kanye is like, I don't want to be mean. Like, we think, what's wrong with Kanye? Like, something's going wrong. This is weird. And then we can kind of make a joke about it. And then you hear Kim's response and you go, okay, this is a real person. This is someone's husband. This is someone's dad. Right. This is someone struggling with a mental illness. Like, this is a real person. And so I'm glad she released that statement. And I'm glad you read the whole thing, because it helps me, reminds me to even go like, okay, you see people online, they live in a house together and they're struggling and what's going on. And it helps us to remember these are humans that are making mistakes publicly.
Yeah. Yes. It's tough.
For me, I'm just like, at some level, we have to be like, how much is the fame worth it? Right. You know what I mean? Right. Like how much are we going to give up for the lifestyle? And I'm like, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, when I think about Kanye, legendary artist. People doubted him when he started doing fashion, and now it's like everyone wears his stuff. Think about, what him and his family have done with reform, and even running for president, as crazy as it sounds. That's an accomplishment. How many of us are ever going to run for president and people even care? So the fact that he did it, even in the most awkward way, that's an accomplishment. It's like, at some level though, it's like, man, we cannot let this drive us. It drive us into ruin, and your kids need you, man. Like, your kids need you, your wife needs you, your family needs you. They need you to be okay, and that's what. And I think that's something we can all take if we were to take for ourselves in this time. It's like, podcasts, relevant, books, all those different things, we can't let the things and the success drive us into ruin. Like, we have to know that that we're okay in Christ. Like, and I hate to turn into the preacher in that second.
It's true, though.
You know what I'm saying? But it's
good.
Like, within Christ, like, we are everything that we need to be, because we have him that's making up the difference. And another album sale, another book sale, another podcast download doesn't make or break us. We are made in the image of Christ. So yeah, that's my spiel. I'm off the soapbox.
No, and I think that's really good, Derek. and I think you point to kind of even this larger, spiritual idea. Even setting aside the mental health conversation, which is obviously a very important one, but on the spiritual side, this isn't an original thought by me. I've heard a lot of people speak about this, that humans weren't made for fame. Like, we weren't created for that. It's actually antithetical to our spiritual development according to the gospel. The secret of the gospel is that we decrease so he increases, and that people's adoration go to a higher power, not ones that we can understand, whether that's talent, whether it's, someone that is famous for this reason or the other. I mean, that's why I think there's so much toxicity with social media, because, we literally have the icon that we use on a lot of platforms to express our approval is a heart, like, I love this, right? Like, there is something deeply psychologically and deeply psychological and deeply spiritual about the act of clicking a heart next to somebody's words and not clicking a heart next to somebody else's. And I'm not, that's not an indictment, but it's just saying, I don't think we were created for this. I don't think I don't think this was really, when God designed us psychologically and spiritually to chase that. And I think the more people get caught up in the chase, and I'm not necessarily talking about, Kanye West here, I'm talking about all of us to a degree, that, when our focus becomes, like you were saying, Derek, like, how many people bought my album? How many people listened to my podcast? How many people liked my post? When we start using that as a metric for success or worthiness, it can be really, really destructive on a lot of levels,
Dude, I didn't watch the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance, when it was on ESPN, but it just came onto Netflix, and so I watched it. I was not a Michael Jordan fan in the 90s because I was an Orlando Magic fan, Shaq and Penny. And so, I was like, I don't want to watch some self-congratulatory documentary about Michael Jordan's story. I will tell you this. It was brilliant for this fact. It not only talked about his final season with the Bulls, but it kind of went through his whole career. And the man retired twice. And you have to, and it really did a very vulnerable look at the mental toll that fame and the pressure of fame took on him. And one of the color commentators made the point that you have to remember that this was pre-social media, that the pressure of fame on Michael Jordan was so intense that emotionally he was so spent that he retired at the peak of his career and retired again in 98 because he couldn't take the mental toll anymore. And imagine the people at that level now, like Kanye, add in the social media, add in the immediacy of the feedback loop. And you're talking about we're not wired for this, we're not created for this. That is absolutely true. And I have great empathy for people that are in that role, because the other thing that the documentary made a point of with the gambling stuff with Michael was like, American culture loves to put people on pedestals and then immediately knock them down. And now, I mean, look at Kanye. I mean, you put him on a pedestal and then we love to tear him down. And it's like, and then that feedback, it's crushing. And I can't imagine how somebody in his position even could handle it.
Yeah.
You know, so
You know that you just brought that up, Cam, about the documentary. I wrote something down that Phil Jackson said in that, and I've never forgotten it. It was when they were going into the 92 season. He said this. He said, "You're only a success at the moment you perform a successful act." And I thought, how do you keep that up and to be a success in your career? You know, like you have to keep going. You have to keep going.
Yeah. He said that right after they won their first championship.
Exactly.
He's like, now the next season starts. You're no longer a success.
nothing. Yeah.
You have to do it again.
Yep. That pressure.
That's an incredibly hard way to live life. You know,
it is. And I think that 10-part documentary, even if you're not a basketball fan, if you're just a fan of human psychology and you know, interesting relationships, I think, you know, who knows? But I do think that when people look back at the era that took place in the late 90s, pre 9/11, you know, like people kind of had a different outlook. You know, everything felt untouchable. Everything felt like things are just getting better and better, and we can have anything we want whenever we want it. And this is how it's always going to be. We're secure, you know, in America. And, you know, there was this, you know, sort of unhealthy complex of, hey, we're the best ever. No one can ever do anything. But I think looking back on that documentary, I honestly think it's going to be an interesting microcosm for how people thought in an unhealthy way then. It's like, we have to keep achieving. We have to keep driving. We have to keep, like, it's win at all cost. At all costs. That was ultimately that was sort of the message of that series, of that 10, you know, relationships don't matter. Loyalties don't matter. You know, being a good human is secondary to winning. And when you see that kind of, you know, I think a lot of people have shifted their mindset in the last couple decades since that's been released, because I think you've kind of showed like, yeah, winning is everything till you start losing. Then what? What? What about when you're not on top? What about when, you know, whether it's, you know, something like a natural disaster that shakes up or an act of terrorism that shakes a country to its core, whether it's something like we're seeing now. Yeah. If you're just measuring your self-worth on arbitrary measurements of wins and losses, it's great when you're winning, but when you start losing, what happens then? You know, and that's a really difficult thing. And I think to your point, Derek, that's why we can't put our value in ourselves and our abilities. We have to put it in something greater, you know?
Exactly, man. Yeah. I could go on for days, and we got another podcast. I mean, we got to finish the podcast, but look, I remember being so stressed out, especially my album When I Left Reach. Like when I didn't have, you know, I left Reach. It's to this day the most successful Christian rap label, period. And, you know, the first thing that happened when I left was, you know, people were like, oh, you're going to fail. I'm not your fan anymore. Why would you leave? You're this and that. And so, you know, my family is dependent on me being successful. And that is, ever since then, I've been fighting to be in a place where, you know, mentally I know that my success is not dependent on my performance, but my success is me loving the Most High with everything inside of me. That's what success is. After that, that's where the storm began to go down in my brain and in my heart. So I hope the same thing for Kanye, for real.
Yeah. All right, Tyler, I don't think you meant to bring all that with that first
That's good, though.
I was hoping that it's a hard thing to have an important conversation around, so I'm glad that you all were able to navigate that, frankly, better than I was able to. So thanks for being willing to be vulnerable and all of that. Everything else, fortunately, there is some. I
can vouch. Tyler and I talked behind the scenes, and he has done a terrible job navigating that conversation.
Blabbering idiot, like a baby.
Tyler had the single worst Last Dance take I've ever heard. And it was about why didn't Bill Winnington, a real life lumberjack, get more screen time? What's up with Bill Winnington?
I was really confused. I thought it was about Michael B. Jordan, so you can understand.
Oh, okay.
I'm 9 episodes in, and I'm like, when are they going to get to him? There's like 90 minutes left.
But this next, Jesse, we're actually talking this. we were talking this piece of news would be, this might be, Jesse, I'll be interested in your take on this one. So we're going to talk about our friend of the pod, Devon Franklin. He is a New York Times bestseller. He's a speaker. He's a pastor. He's a filmmaker. He's been behind a lot of faith-based movies. A lot of actually, one thing that we kind of forget about some of these faith-based movies is a lot of them go on to make tons of money. Like that's something that I feel like gets ignored in the conversation around some of these sometimes, is that they're very, very successful, especially when you got somebody like Devon Franklin behind them. So Devon just inked what's called an overall deal with CBS. This is the first time he's been involved with anything that has to do with television. Overall deal simply means that anything that he creates now, CBS gets first dibs at it. They want exclusive rights to refuse to take a look at anything that Devon Franklin comes up with first. It's a very exciting and it's a pretty extraordinary deal for somebody like Devon. He has a second look deal with Netflix that will follow this up. This is a statement that he put out.
Wow.
He said, thanks.
So his like leftovers. Netflix
is the runner-up.
When people want your second look deals, you know you're doing something right.
That means he's getting bags.
They're going to pay you for a second look.
That's basically someone saying, I got dibs on the pizza crust. It's like, okay, I wasn't going to eat that.
You know what my second look deal is? The trash can. Like, that's my one right of refusal, and then it's in the trash. His statement here is interesting. He said, thanks for all the congrats. I'm beyond excited to expand into TV with CBS Studios, excited to create new opportunities for people of faith and people of color. I believe entertainment is the most powerful medium in the world, and we can use it to help shape hearts and minds for the better. Now, when you see the announcement of a deal, it's the beginning of something, not the end. So now the real work begins. Please keep your prayers going. I need them. I commit to doing my best to bring you the best shows I possibly can. And this is actually something that for as long as I've been alive, a lot of Christians have been saying that they want. They want a space for people of faith in the entertainment industry. They feel unrepresented. And I think that there is actually some truth. I don't really buy into the persecution narrative, but I would say there's a lot of times when I see Christians depicted in movies or on TV shows, I'm like, that doesn't really look like my experience. Not every time, but sometimes. Having somebody like
some of the worst things on TV is when a sitcom or a TV show or even a movie goes to a church service. And it's like the pastor's in a liturgical robe. It's got a, then there's like some sort of like hipster brimmed hat and then a black gospel choir. And it's a mishmash. They don't know what they're talking about.
Baptist, but you have a collar, but you call everybody my child. Like, it's just not like, go to one church.
They don't know. These writers have never been to a church service.
Before I read about this. So Devon is really set up to make some changes there. And I think it'd be really cool to see that. And it's definitely notable that he's doing this as a black man as well, because I think that's you want to talk about underrepresented, like that's going to be if anything way more important, and bringing those two things together, bringing a perspective from the black church into CBS, which I believe is still the number one sitcom, number one network TV channel, I believe is a pretty big deal. It's very, very cool for Devon Franklin. Jesse, I believe you were the last person from Relevant who got to talk to Devon Franklin. Is that right?
Yeah. And every time I talk to him, I'm like super, super impressed. And not just because he's like a brilliant dude. He's super inspiring to talk to.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys
glad you went there. Okay, listen.
Every time you talk to him, you're just jazzed. You're like, you know what, dude? I'm going to go get a second look deal with Netflix. I can do it.
Relevant podcast listeners, please go into our archives and go just scan it. Find the Devon Franklin episode. He's the headliner. Jesse interviewed him. Okay. It is the funniest thing because Jesse, during the interview, is getting so inspired and ramped up. He's amening Devon Franklin. He's going, amen. Yeah, that's right. Bring it. Like during, like Devon's preaching. I've never heard an interviewer get so into it. It was so funny.
Yes.
I felt like I could take the floor at the 96 Bulls at that point. Like, that's how I felt. Now,
he's like, hey, man, that's right. Let's go. I mean, Jesse was like caught up in it. It was great.
Let's go.
I think it's, and obviously he's like pretty connected within the industry, entertainment industry in general, and has really chosen to align himself with some interesting people and interesting storytellers. I know he's developing a series at one point with Kirk Franklin. I know, and I talked to him about this in the interview. He was with Reverend Samuel Rodriguez, developing a film, which I think, to my understanding, is still in the works, about the guy who created Flaming Hot Cheetos, which when I first saw that, I was like, there's going to be a Flaming Hot Cheeto biopic? Like, and then I heard the story about how this guy was basically, and I'm probably butchering some of the details, but it was someone who worked like as a custodian or something at the headquarters of, the Frito-Lay Corporation, but he had one product idea. He was a super hard worker. He was a really relational guy, and ended up, his idea turned the whole company around. And now he's like a huge executive in the food business. Like, you know what? That is a pretty good story. And I haven't had a Flaming Hot Cheeto in a while, and that sounds pretty darn good right now.
That's the only Cheetos I eat. I don't even eat normal Cheetos. Like, it's just Flaming Hot. So thank you, my mans, for putting us on.
And all I have to say is, like, I'm really interested in what Devon Franklin does, because I like him as a dude, but also I feel like his impulses for the stories that he wants to tell seem pretty strong.
And the Flamin' Hots movie is still in the works, Jesse. It has a title.
Let's go.
It is still in the works.
It's called Flamin' Hots. It's they got a title. They're moving forward. I for one can't wait for that. That's high on my list of most anticipated. Obviously, production isn't going on right now, but as soon as they kick back in, it's going right to the top of my most anticipated of 2021.
See, here's my fear, because from my understanding of CBS, it's mostly like college football and CIS spinoffs. So it's like CIS inspiration with Devon Franklin, and it's like, he walks up to a murder scene and, is just, of some decapitated person they has to solve the mystery. And it's like, all right, everyone, let's not lose our heads on this one. It's CBS, guys. That's how they roll.
That just literally went, bro. That went left, bro.
Jesse just wants to get to his David Caruso impression about 3 times a year. Anyway, he can do the sunglasses come off one-liner. That Jesse will take you there. So.
I would be down for a CSI Church spinoff, like CSI Christians, but it would have to be completely straight. I don't want it to be a parody. I don't want it to be like pastors making fun of it. I want it to be legit, grisly, terrible crimes committed in church services.
Someone drowned in the baptismal.
Oh man,
too soon. It looks like the body was found in the baptismal. We're gonna have to take a deep dive on this one.
Gosh. All right, what's your last one, Tyler?
All right, the last one, I'm actually very excited about this. The last one is we got our first trailer for a new visual album from Beyonce called Black is King. Now, I feel like this one kind of flew under the radar, but the best thing...
Tyler, hold on. Jesse has another one.
I almost made a very inappropriate communion joke that had to do with Body in the Blood, and it was CSI reference, and I'm glad I pulled the eject.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for the self-edit there.
The
Thank you for the...
All right.
True.
All right. I am very excited about this. There's a trailer. We got it posted on relevantmagazine.com for a new visual album from Beyonce called Black is King. Now, this is interesting because I think this kind of flew under the radar. The Lion King remake, Jon Favreau's Lion King remake from 2018 was, in my opinion, I think a lot of people's opinion, was not very good. It struck me as kind of a cynical, just kind of unimaginative cash grab that just felt like a bunch of like investors pulling the strings on something that just didn't really do it for me. And I say that as a fan of The Lion King, but there was an album that came out along with it called The Gift that Beyonce curated, some new original music from her, from some of her friends, people like Childish Gambino, Major Lazer, Tierra Whack, and Blue Ivy was there too. And the album actually was really good. And I just think Disney didn't do a great job of marketing it along with the Lion King movie that came out, but it was a really strong album. And now it is getting a visual album spinoff, kind of the same way that Lemonade and Homecoming did, based on the trailer. Black is King will draw on some Lion King themes maybe, but it'll sort of poetically remix the narrative to its own very unique thing. She's apparently bringing along friends like Naomi Campbell, Lupita Nyong'o, Jay-Z is going to be there, of course. We'll see how it turns out, but it looks really interesting. The trailer is really, really cool. Here's a little clip of it. I asked Clark to pull a little bit of the audio from it.
Life is a set of choices.
Does your father know you are here?
Lead.
I laugh in the face of danger.
Or be led astray.
Run away and never return.
Follow your light. Or lose it.
You can't wear a crown with your head down.
The question is, who are you?
Don't never take my power, my power, my power. Don't never take my power, my power, my power.
I'm nearly as pumped as a Devon Franklin speech.
Oh my goodness.
I'm ready.
That joins. Yes. Let's go. Thank you, Beyonce.
The full trailer's over at our website,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you can and should go
Yeah.
check it out there. I actually think Beyonce is at her most interesting when she's putting together these visuals to go along with her music. That's both Lemonade and Homecoming were actual experiences, like real, cultural resets that came out. And so and this is going to be on Disney Plus. So if you got a Disney
Plus,
if you don't have Disney Plus,
that's
by
the most
now,
shocking part of it.
doing? Like what's there's no excuse.
Crazy.
That's
Disney
crazy.
Plus. All right.
I'm with it.
Well, for all that content and a lot more every day, go check out all that we're publishing at relevantmagazine.com. Stay tuned. Up next, Good Trouble director Don Porter joins
You
us.
had this look on your face, so much animosity. EQOTW is where you find happiness. That's the only place you find happiness. Way too many drugs, it's so bad for us. One too many drinks and you had enough. Murder my ego when you walked away.
You're listening to Ty Dolla $ign featuring Kanye West, FKA Twigs, and Skrillex. The song is Ego Death. Well, today's show is brought to you by Tyndale's Filament Bible. The new easy-to-carry Filament Bible is full of mind-blowing studies, devotionals, and video materials. To top it all off, you can access everything at your fingertips through the Filament Bible app. The app provides access to a variety of interactive maps, articles, devotionals, and worship music that relate to the scripture you're studying. The extra information comes easily just by scanning the page number with your phone or tablet. It's spot on, curated to the page you're reading. And because it's from Tyndale, you can trust it to be biblically sound and focused on helping you grow in your faith and service. It's not just a new Bible, it's part of a Bible reading revolution. Drawing upon rich Tyndale history of making Bibles accessible, the Filament Bible collection introduces Bibles that enable readers to read and learn in a new way at any time and place. The collection includes multiple cover sizes, features, and translations. You can learn more about the Filament Bible collection at filamentbibles.com. Don Porter is a filmmaker, attorney, and founder of Trilogy Films, where she creates documentaries like the recent release, John Lewis, Good Trouble. We recently talked to Don about John Lewis's legacy, how the documentary came together, and how the journey to racial reconciliation has just begun. Here's part of Tyler Huckabee's conversation with Don Porter.
So if I understand this right, you already had a little bit of a connection to John Lewis before you started working on this documentary. How did this all come together?
He did this interview for the Bobby Kennedy series, and he was just the star of the show. I mean, the way that he broke down talking about that was one of the only times when he almost lost faith in humanity when Bobby Kennedy was killed. So CNN actually came to me and said, they had a lot of success with their RBG film. And so I was like, they're in the mood for 80-year-olds, so this is another cool 80-year-old. So they came to me, we already had some contact. And then Erica Alexander is a producer. She is an actress. She was on the Living Single Black comedy show. So Erica, at the same time that I was talking with CNN, Erica called and said, would you like to do a movie about John Lewis? So it was like in the sky that this was going to happen. And I said, well, we're already talking about it. Why don't we just do it together? And so she came on as a producer. she had already been talking to him. It just was a very natural progression. And, here we are. And then I spent the next year filming with him and his staff and his family. We went to Alabama. We went to Selma with him. So we had a great time.
My philosophy is very simple. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, say something, do something, get in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble.
He was always different than every member of Congress.
So when you start creating a documentary like this, I think documentaries like this are super interesting because you're talking about trying to boil down a giant, a guy with the stature of John Lewis into one narrative. What goes into, how do you even pick a plot line?
It's a great question. And it comes up a lot when you have people, because interesting people often have these long lives. And, the thing to remember is it's not a book report, you can't do everything. So I like to kind of come up with a central question. And for John Lewis, I was really interested in what does a person who entered activism as a person who is knocking on the doors of the hall of power, how does your career evolve so that he was petitioning and protesting Congress and now he's a congressman. So how does that happen? But also I was really interested, he was 19 when he led the sit-ins. I have an 18-year-old, so people give young people a really hard time, but you look at some of the most influential social movements of our current time, and they are just as influential as the 60s. Look at the Parkland kids, look at Greta Thunberg, look at the Black Lives Matter activists. These are all led by young people. So I don't know why we are continually surprised. But I kind of wanted to also remind those people that they come from a long and rich history. That's what America is, is what we're actually talking about is how do you raise your voice and make meaningful change. And I think, that's John Lewis's life. And I think right now things can seem pretty dark. And government does not seem like it's listening to us. And, but that's not the end of the story. That's the beginning of the story. And I think that's what John Lewis's life is.
What is a misconception most people have about the life of John Lewis that you tried to address here?
They know that he's brave, they know that he was, beaten and all of that. But what I wanted to focus on was how much planning they did as young people. I mean, they were meeting in a church basement for months and years. They were training for the abuse they knew they would get. So they walked into it willingly and knowing that was going to happen, and they were ready for it. So, when I look at the protests now, which are so necessary and so urgent, I'm like, that's, we need to add to that this strategy that's going to lead to, the life that we want. So I hope that I love seeing people out there responsibly with masks, because I am a parent. But I do love seeing people using their voices, and I just, want to connect them with the idea that we have been here before and it has worked. You are not wasting your time when you stand up for what is right. And you may end up literally changing the lives of millions of people because of what may seem like a small action to you.
If John Lewis as a 19, 20-year-old wasn't doing what he did, I would not be here.
We will march with the spirit of love and with the spirit of dignity that we have shown here today.
The whole time he was in the movement, it was frightening, knowing the danger, knowing what could happen.
You cannot replace a John Lewis.
He's the most courageous person I ever met.
Too many people struggled and died to make it possible for every American to exercise their right to vote.
I'm curious if you think this doc has anything for what I'll call the scolds, the people who see these protests, see people marching in the street and say things like, this isn't what Dr. King would have wanted.
John Lewis studied under Dr. King, was motivated by him, trained under him. And, Mr. Lewis said he is thrilled with the protest. Nobody, wants a violent action. Of course, he is not thrilled with that, but that doesn't mean he doesn't understand where the anger comes from. You can understand it and not be part of it. So, you know what? It's like I tell my kids, you get to make your own choices, right? So make your own choice, but know that the nonviolent protest is actually the most successful social change tool in history. That's just a fact.
Last question here. What surprised you most about your time with John Lewis?
I think what surprised me the most is what a happy and peaceful person he is. I mean, we were filming with him while there were serious efforts to dismantle the Voting Rights Act. That was one of his crowning achievements. And I was depressed and upset about that. And he just said, there are ups and downs, but he so believes in people that it's hard not to believe along with him. So I was surprised at how legitimately, I guess if you live your life doing what you're meant to do, it shows. And he's a very happy man.
That was Don Porter. To read the rest of that conversation, head over to relevantmagazine.com and do yourself a favor and rent Good Trouble on Apple, Amazon, or wherever you get your movies.
'Cause it might have been something used to say. Does it help to get lost in yesterday? And you might have missed something. Don't say, 'cause it has to be lost in yesterday. It's just gonna have to let it go someday. You can pick it up like Groundhog Day. 'Cause it might have been something.
You're listening to Tame Impala. The song is Lost in Yesterday.
That's my band. Sorry, I know
For
that's
real?
Yes. Tame Impala is my band. I love them.
Dude, I heard I was listening. I'm working at home. I listen to Beats One all the time, their radio station. And the DJ yesterday morning, she said she was in London and she said, hey, I'm going to play a song for those of you who are listening right now where it's the morning, you're just waking up. And then I'm going to play a song for those of you who are listening right now that it's your afternoon and you're just wrapping up your workday. And for the morning song, she played Tame Impala. And you know what? It was morning where I was listening to it. It was the best kind of start the day kind of music. It was great. I love Tame Impala.
Currents is the most genre bending.
Absolutely.
I'm what am I? When I first heard it, I'm like, what am I listening to? It literally inspired. I'll be honest. Currents inspired probably, 2 years worth of music. No lie.
Whew. Around that album, we had them in the magazine, actually.
Oh, man. They're dope.
Well, today's show is also brought to you by BetterHelp. Is something preventing you from achieving your goals or keeping you from experiencing peace and happiness? With the heaviness of all that's happening in our world, it's difficult to find joy and purpose sometimes. And that's why there's BetterHelp. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You connect in a safe and private online environment, and you can start communicating in under 24 hours. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly phone or video sessions, and you can send a message to your counselor anytime. To top it all off, it's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener of the Relevant Podcast, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/relevant. Join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/relevant. /relevant. Okay, it's time for
Slices.
What do you have, Jesse?
All right, I saw this story and I couldn't resist. I've told similar stories about like this before, but it's a fascinating subject to me, and I can't stop thinking about it because one day I want to pursue a similar a goal like this couple who lives in Vancouver on an island they made themselves in the middle of a lake. Okay, so this started years ago. And so basically this couple, they're both artists, right? And the problem is, that they say they were recently spotlighted in a lengthy profile on CNN, because, the current spin on it is like, hey, what a better way to socially distance than making an island out in the middle of the ocean. And so this couple, they're both artists, right? And, like visual artists and sculptors and things. The problem is, like, they really wanted to stick to doing that, but it wasn't really, kind of paying the bills for a traditional lifestyle. So they're hanging out at a friend's cabin one day, and there's a big storm, and it knocked all this wood over onto the property, and they decided to start, they're artists, so they start building it out. Fast forward, they have a floating structure that is out in the ocean right now, and sometimes like they move it.
I thought it was in a lake. They move it?
Well, yeah, a lake that has access. You can actually get to the lake, through canals or something. But it's tethered to the beach. But it's the size of like 4 city blocks. And here are some of the things that they have. Here's some of the things that they've created. The compound has everything. This is from the story on CNN. The compound has everything you could possibly think of and more. A dance floor, an art gallery, a candle factory, 4 greenhouses, 6 solar panels, and access to a small waterfall that provides constantly running water. It's totally off the grid. They produce their own power with solar panels. They don't have to pay the man for a property tax.
Oh my goodness, your libertarian dreams, man.
What the heck?
They're living by their own. They're living by their own laws, and you should see this. If people listening should go, I'll tell you their names that you can Google. Their names are Catherine King and Wayne Adams, and you can go and you can see the compound. They call it Freedom Cove. You should Google this. It is awesome. It is like when you used to go to the fort in the woods as a kid and build forts. It's like if you were a grown up artist and just spent and literally had nothing else to do but to build a giant island where you just live on by yourself. It is a fantastic idea. And to my knowledge, listen, I am as people know, I have my strong opinions about personal property, but I'm no expert in Canadian law when it comes to personal property. But as long as they own that tiny piece of land where they have the stake in the ground and running out to Mill Lake, all of it's theirs. It's all theirs. That's all they need. They don't need to pay anybody. It's free from laws, free from judgment of society, free from pandemics. I'm all about this couple. It's totally self-sustaining. They grow their own food and they fish. And that's all they need. They can go into land, but they said it's a hike to get it. It's not like you're going to Uber Eats out there. I respect this, and I think it's awesome. And if you're like, hey, whatever happened to Jesse? Look for man-made islands like floating in lakes somewhere.
Well, Jesse, out in the Pacific Ocean, there's like an island of trash. You could just commandeer that.
I've thought about it.
So it's just the two of them, though.
Yeah, wouldn't you go a little stir crazy?
I would go so stir crazy. We've been doing this since March, and I'm like, this is crazy.
On HGTV, they have those like crazy homes or whatever. I've seen, I don't know if it's this couple or another couple, but I've seen one where they started to build a raft and like a houseboat, and then they would get like steel drums and just like add to it and add wings to it, and it just kept expanding. And like it's fully self-sufficient homes, man. You can do it. Jesse, I think you should do it. Just go over to Plastic Island out in the Pacific Ocean and just start tying it together.
Build a huge fort.
Do it.
Build a huge sketchy fort out there.
You would be. I do think it's interesting though, like looking at like quarantine, pandemics, and unrest in the globe. I wonder how many more of these types of dwellings will start to become the norm as people look to just isolate themselves further and further from the world going to crap.
Hey, I mean, I respect the game. I respect the game. It takes a lot
that
to build
whole
an
like,
island.
what would you take on a deserted island if you were there? I was like, I would just I would just not even make it. Like, I would never be alone on a deserted island. That's my worst nightmare.
Oh my goodness. Derek just sent us a photo of it. This is not like a trash island. This looks like a theme park.
No, it's awesome.
It's got like
Jamie sent it though.
I sent it to y'all.
Yo.
Oh.
What,
is that it?
That's it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is everything on the
like
island.
Swimming pools.
They didn't purchase one thing. It's all reclaimed material. Like so
for real, bro?
Their budget was $0 on that thing. Good for them, man. I think
living
it's
the libertarian dreams.
exactly.
This is just
Sign me up.
All right. What do you have, Jamie?
All right. Well, speaking of housing, this is a little turn, but maybe we can learn from Catherine and Wayne here. A lot of things that we're going to see happen because of what's gone on in our country with COVID, job loss, employment. But one of the things that's really heavy on a lot of people's minds is that we're going to see an explosion in the homeless population in Americans.
Yeah.
There is this woman named Emily Benfer, and she is really smart about all this stuff. She's a co-creator of the COVID-19 Housing Policy Scorecard. These are her calculations. She's going to see that she says that the U.S. could see between 20 to 28 million new homeless by September.
Oh, man.
One expert predicts that U.S. homeless population could grow by 40%, which by comparison, the Great Recession saw 10 million new homeless. So we're looking at double and a half of what we saw in that time. And basically, their research is finding that rent is unaffordable in every state in this country. And it's interesting because I used to volunteer at our local county jail. And one of the things when we would talk to the women, we would talk about, paying rent and how do you do that? And I don't know what minimum wage is in y'all's states, but minimum wage in Texas is $7.25.
No.
Okay?
I thought the federal was like 11.
I just looked it up today because I wanted to make sure I was right.
Nah, that never happened, bro. Minimum wage never went up.
Wow.
I know. So I looked it up. So this said in Texas, minimum wage $7.25. And so this is what we would teach the girls. We would talk about, okay, so you make minimum wage, you work 40 hours a week. That's $290 a week. You would do that for 4 weeks. It's $11.60. So, then we would go through, okay, here's all your expenses like housing, electricity, water, food, all those kind of things. And then we did the math. And do you know how much money was left over at the end of the month? If you're just spending like minimal rent, minimal this, and you're making minimum wage, $7.
Wow.
$7 was left over. And then, for our women that we were talking about in the prison population, you get out and then, when you're on probation, you have to pay fees for being on probation. Like when you meet with your probation officer, you have to pay. So
probation is the biggest setup in the world. But
it is it's crazy.
It keeps people in the cycle.
It keeps you in the cycle.
Absolutely.
So you're working a minimum wage job and you have zero extra income and then you have to pay for your probation. I mean, it's just one cycle. So that was kind of a rant about, jail and that kind of process, but this is going to affect America greatly.
The thing that I read, the reason why it's going to happen like almost overnight in the coming month is that two things are happening at the end of July in the coming days. One, the federal unemployment subsidy of $600 a week is ending. So the people that have been limping along, that is over. And Capitol Hill is fighting over it because Republicans are saying we can't extend it because it's decentivizing people to go back to work because they're actually making more money being unemployed. Yep. And so especially like lower rung positions are going unfilled and companies are struggling. So the government wants to lower it significantly and they're just fighting over it. There is a recess coming up the second week in August. And so, right around this time, and there might be a week gap, but I mean, they'll figure out some new plan, but it will not be $600 a week. That's one thing. So money's going to come down. Two, the other protection that was happening that ends at the end of July is that the eviction moratorium. Like the federal government would not let landlords evict anybody for non-payment during the coronavirus epidemic. That lifts at the end of July. So all of a sudden, all these people who have been struggling with unemployment haven't been able to pay their rent or mortgages are going to get evicted overnight. And so there's your 40 million. And
my goodness.
Yeah. And that's happening in the next week. So while we're watching basketball, a lot of people are going to be struggling. So,
oh my goodness, man!
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like this is a scary
real
coming
life.
weeks for a lot of people. Yeah. All right, what do you have, Derek?
Ooh, bro, that's heavy. That's heavy. I got something a little different. So apparently air conditioning is contributing to global warming.
Yeah.
So
I heard this
that
today.
is, wow. Like, so you think about it, the earth is getting hotter.
Right.
But so air conditioning, there's more air conditioning being added to the earth. And then now it becomes this feedback loop of the hotter it gets, the more AC, the hotter it gets. So I guess her name is Gabrielle Dreyfus, who is part of the cooling efficiency program at the Governance of Sustainable Development. She says, if we deal with cooling wrong, this is our quote, if we deal with cooling wrong, we essentially cook ourselves.
Right. So one thing I read that piece, dude, the old AC units back until the 80s would put off like, it's almost like aerosol cans just put off terrible, chemicals. Yeah. The old AC put off like terrible chemicals. And there was a law that went through in the 80s that basically they had to change the refrigerants and air conditioning units. But the current era of air conditioning units puts off air that is 40,000 times hotter than normal carbon dioxide for the ozone layer. So like AC units are currently outputting something that's 40,000 times more damaging to the ozone layer than carbon dioxide. So we're talking about methane gas from cows. We're talking about all these other things. It's air conditioning that is actually doing some of the worst damage to the atmosphere right now, which is crazy. So it's going to be a cycle. The hotter it gets, the more we're going to pump AC, the hotter it's going to get.
That's crazy.
Did you see, speaking of methane gas and the ozone layer and stuff, seriously, it's like not a joke, but like cows and the cattle and the beef industry is like one of the biggest contributors of that. Did you see what Burger King did last week?
No, what would they do?
Burger King released this like commercial talking about how they said at the end of the commercial, it said, we know that we've been a big part of the problem, so we're going to be part of the solution. And they've been working on innovations that they're going to be feeding their cows. I'm blanking. It's not ginseng, but it's some natural substance that they're putting into the cow's feed that will make them fart less.
Fart less?
And so they're going to be lowering cow methane emissions by changing their diet. And so Burger King is saying on scale at the billions of cows that we have, this actually will make a difference in the atmosphere.
Can you send me that story so I can show it to my boys?
It's ginger.
Yeah, because ginger's good for your digestion.
They're adding ginger to the cow feed. Isn't that nuts? There's a whole you remember that yodeling kid from Walmart that went viral?
Yeah.
They have a whole 3-minute video of the yodeling kid and his friends singing about cow farts. It's all put on by Burger King, and they're talking about they want to be part of the solution.
Why does Clark not have this clip?
Can you imagine?
Why did you not give Clark this clip?
Someone who, in order to work on this project, you probably not only need multiple degrees, you probably had spent most of your life dedicated to science, like gastro, whatever. Like you got to know all this stuff. And then someone's like, "Oh, I heard you just landed a big deal. Well, what are you working on?" Bovine flatulence. It's like cow farts. You're Dr. Cow Fart now. We're gonna call you Dr. Cow Fart because that's what you're. It's admirable cause, but who wants to be the scientist where this is their big thing?
Dude, it's a big thing. But my thing is this, like the AC thing. Society is going to be. The necessity is going to be there for society to change, right? We're going to have to change how we cool our buildings. We're going to have to change how, our food supply is, created. We're going to have to adapt. And it's good to see, some innovators doing that. So
Derek, per your request.
Oh, yes.
If you would like, sir.
Oh, yes. Play it.
When cows fart and burp and splatter, well, it ain't no laughing matter. They're releasing methane every time they do. And that methane from the rear goes up to the atmosphere and pollutes our planet, warming me and you.
It goes on and on and on.
What's that kid's name? Mason.
Get your money, Mason.
Oh
Listen,
my God.
Listen, Mason went from a viral video star to having a Little Nas X remix. Now he's in the Burger King cow fart song.
Get your
What a
money,
career.
Mason. Hey, look, get your money, little homie.
All right, that'll do it for
Slices.
Stay tuned. Up next, John Kingston joins us, and you don't want to miss the feedback at the end of the show.
I lift my eyes to the mountains. You were high and still. I lift my eyes to the heavens. You are greater still. My strength comes from the Lord, the maker of it all. My strength comes from the Lord.
You're listening to Mac Brock. The song is I Lift My Eyes. Well, today's show is also brought to you by the upcoming Better Together online concert event. For King and Country, who were on the show last week, Lecrae, Crowder, Jonathan McReynolds, and the New Respects are coming together July 28th, that's this week, for an exclusive worldwide concert event. Today's most prolific Christian voices are rising up to unite the global church in this unprecedented cultural moment. Now is the time to be light in the darkness, to bridge divides, and heal past hurts. Now is the time to show we are truly better together. You can register for the concert for free at AmericanAwakening.us. Well, John Kingston has had many careers, but his current one is as an author and founder of the nonprofit organization Better for America. His new book, which comes out this week, is called American Awakening: 8 Principles to Restore the Soul of America, which aims to inspire a new generation to help this country live up to its highest ideals by extending the promise of freedom and equality to all people. Our very own Tyler Huckabee recently spoke to him about the new book. Here's part of our conversation with John Kingston.
So we were just talking about a new study that shows there is now a record low of people in this country, in America, who say they are proud to be an American. Never been a lower number of people to say they're proud to be an American since Gallup started first asking the question. So I guess my question is, should we be proud of being Americans?
So when you get to that question of proud to be an American, we deserve to be proud of the fact that we have reason to exist in something that really matters and it's worth fighting for. And but at the same time, we're always yearning and aspiring to it. As Martin Luther King said famously, it's a promise. It was a promissory note that has yet to be paid on. And my heroes, Frederick Douglass, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, they all believed in this country because they believed that it had the promise and the possibility of fulfillment. And so what I'd say to you, the folks that are listening out there and your relevant cohort, look, I know how sad and disappointed people are right now and where we are. I get it. I feel it. I feel it every day, the same way a lot of folks do. But the basic premise that we're all children of God, that we're made to be together, that's who we are as Christians. And the citizens of the Republic, we've got the same concept. All are created equal. Everyone out there is a children of God. And in this country, we are committed to realizing on that.
Right now there's a lot of people have a lot of ideas about what we should do about the fact that America kind of seems to be spiraling out of control a little bit. You have a book, American Awakening, which you put out your own ideas about what we should do. What separates your ideas from everything else that we're hearing out there right now?
What's happening is, some of the ideas out there are really bad ideas. I mean, just to be clear, there's some really bad ones, but there's some germ of truth in a lot of them. And what's bad of them is not the ideas in a lot of regards. It's a spirit which is animating them, which is zero sum. And it's my side's got to win, your side's got to lose, it doesn't work that way, right? I mean, Martin Luther King, famously, when he was assassinated, his ideas were sufficiently provocative at the time that he enjoyed only 30 some odd percent, favorability in public opinion polls in 1968. Right. What was so abundantly clear, what is so abundantly clear to us now about what he was taking us forward in was a compromised view of the way the public square would work, but it stepped on a lot of toes, and it required, some puts and takes from a lot of people. Of course, for goodness sake, he was assassinated at 39, and he didn't see the promised land. I mean, not that any of us are going to exactly see the promised land, but he didn't see the fulfillment of it. So it wasn't great, as a consequence, but it had moved something forward meaningfully by virtue of asking something of some people, not getting perfect answers, for the people he was leading. But he recognized, as Nelson Mandela is another hero of mine. Nelson Mandela, when he came out of prison, 27 years of being in prison, 27 years, his oppressors, he came out and said, you know what? We need you guys, right? I mean, he didn't say, hey, we're going to put you guys in the box, because he said, we need you. So he respected the contributions of his former oppressors. And that's the spirit which animates, leadership. It's a puts and takes. It's a, we're going to move it forward this much. We can't move it forward that much. That's just the way the world works in reality.
One thing I've heard you talk about a lot is the very diverse coalition that you had first on your campaign team when you ran for office, and that you have kept with you now since that time. You have a very diverse group of people around you, that I think is very cool. What have you learned about maintaining a really diverse coalition, racially, age-wise, ideologically, politically? And what practical advice do you have for other people who want to make sure that their own teams that they have around them are likewise diverse?
Sometimes it's hard. I mean, more often than not, it's not. It's more often than not, it's deeply enriching. Right. It's more often than not, the complementary components of what people add, from their different experiences. I'm the old guy in the group, mid 50s for me. And then I got some in their 40s and 30s and 20s and young Asian man and 40-ish, African-American woman, and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, how enriching is that? Right. I mean, just to be able to get different perspectives, different experiences, different, cultural slices. That makes life just so much better. So 95% of the time it's additive. Sometimes it's hard, and you just figure out how to wrestle through it.
That was John Kingston. Make sure to check out his new book, American Awakening, when it releases July 28th. You're listening to Dayglow. The song is Can I Call You Tonight? No, maybe not. Okay, it is time for your feedback. A couple of weeks ago on the show, we asked you guys, we were doing like a Ask the Cast thing, summer edition. We were just having some fun. One of the questions I asked the cast was, what's something you got away with as a kid that your family still doesn't know about? And we thought, we want to know that answer from you guys as well. So you guys hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast, and you also sent us DMs on Relevant Magazine's Instagram. So what's something you got away with as a kid that your family still doesn't know about? Now, I did think it was funny that most of the Twitter replies centered around the concept of my dad is on Twitter and I'm not going to post. My dad follows me on Twitter. I'm not telling, that, or it would be just like my family to ask a podcast, to ask me what I, so a lot of y'all didn't buy into it. But here's some of our favorite replies.
So I'm looking at Dan Steenson. He says, I don't think there was a day in early grade school where I didn't sneak my Game Boy Advance to school and go to the bathroom during math to get some Pokemon time in. I think that's hilarious because you have now a Dookie Game Boy Advance. I would never want to play that.
Yeah.
Sitting on a toilet.
Yeah.
Hopefully you wash your hands after that. Yeah.
Congrats, you really pulled one over. No one needed to know that. No one needed to know that.
Rona Game Boy.
Pop Therapy Pod, the account says, I was allowed to have MySpace, so I created an account with a friend's computer. It would have gotten away with it too. The parents never knew until a couple months ago when I started a podcast and mentioned it, and my mom listened, flushed face with tears of joy. I'm glad my parents don't really listen. I think that they like maybe about 10 years ago, they probably listened to some of these, but they haven't listened in a very long time. And I'm like, some things I share on this podcast, it's probably just better not for blood relatives to be all that aware of. It's just probably better. That's the risk of podcasting, I guess.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is funny. Bill Park says this, forging my mother's signature on scripture memory confirmations.
Oh man.
Gotcha.
God is seeing that one, Bill. I need you to know.
Yeah.
Did y'all ever, like back in the day, I got handwritten like report cards. I know we don't anymore, but like it was like a card and it was like the teachers would write my grades on it.
Uh-huh.
Did y'all ever modify any of the letters before you showed it to mom and dad? Oh yeah.
You did?
Oh yeah. Yeah. A couple times. Because my parents were a straight A's or you're grounded sort of a family. And so I had to figure out ways to kind of slightly modify some of the non-A's, So
that's funny.
So my man John Tansey is probably a criminal genius right now because he says, growing up with two younger brothers, if one of them did something to wrong me, I would incite the other one into fighting them. They'd both get in trouble for fighting and be sent to their rooms, and I would have revenge and free reign over the TV and the Nintendo. So, bro, like the levels of deception.
Yeah.
In that situation, how old were you? How old were your brothers?
He just wanted to watch his own cartoons and not worry about his brothers, so he got them to neutralize themselves. That's brilliant. Good for him.
Lex Luthor, man.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Amy Smith said this. She said, she's not going to name the person was with, used to tell other kids that our dads owned the park. So we had first dibs on the swings and the slides. We used our status to cut the lines. I guess today one might classify this as bullying, but back then we were just crafty. She's like, my dad owns this park, which means I get to go first on the swing whenever I want. Get out of the way.
How does your dad own the park?
She's like 8. The other kids are like, okay, cool. That's cool. Your dad owns this park.
I do like how there's so many people that blame things on their friends. This still has come up because I have some friends that I grew up with, and there's an incident that took place, and I'm pretty sure the blame got put on one of the younger siblings to this day because it was so disastrous. This family, they had like a freezer in their garage. And like they would have icy pops in there, but mainly it was used like the family, like the mom and the grandmother loved to go like blueberry picking. And so they would go and they would pick so many blueberries that they would fill this freezer in the garage with blueberries. Right. Well, me and a couple buddies are over there hanging out with the older brother. My buddy goes in the fridge and we're probably like in 7th grade, gets an icy pop. We ride off on our bikes. Don't think about it. He left the garage. He left the freezer door open. When his parents, and it was a hot summer day, when his parents came, it was the Great Blueberry Incident of 1994, or whatever year. Like blueberry juice seeped out the garage. The entire drive. Not only was several seasons worth of blueberry picking spoiled, the entire driveway was stained blue. Like
oh my God,
power wash it. There was nothing that was going to do to get this blue off. From that, they literally put a padlock on the freezer and no more icy pops. And I'm pretty sure the younger brother took the hit. I do like this one from Brandon. I once convinced my mom I needed, quote, drumming shoes so that I could play drums better. She bought it and she got me a new pair of Tom DeLonge signature shoes. Tom DeLonge isn't even a drummer. You know, like
mom didn't know.
Yeah, there we go.
The Brandon Crane has one that is like, he has a good heart, but he's also a thief. He says he wrote, I stole $80 from my brother to give my parents to pay a bill. Amazed that a 9-year-old had such cash, they questioned me and I made an elaborate lie about finding it at school. a meeting with my teacher happened. I lied again, but I got the $80. My thing is, he stole from his brother to give it to help his parents out to pay a bill. That's. I mean, you know, he had a good heart, but like, what about the brother and all this? So he got away with it, but then the brother's out $80. How did it, like? I want to know what the brother said. Like,
I think it's funny that he was like, "What kid has $80? You know, like, how did he have $80?"
Yeah.
Yeah, but the other kid had $80. Like, these parents need to get control of their children. Well, earlier at the beginning of the show, if you can remember all the way back then, we got talking about sports. Sports are coming back right now. Basketball's come back with the bubble. Baseball's coming back with empty stadiums. Partial stadiums for college football is coming up in the next month or so. And Jesse is like, we need to figure out ways to jazz up this unusual game experience. So we want to know, for this week's question of the week, what would you do to help Major League sports be more interesting during this weird quarantine season? There you go.
I thought of one. Can I give you one?
Yes, please.
You know that game where like all the people's faces are down and then they just pop up every once in a while?
Whack-a-mole?
Something like that. So what if in the stands at like the NBA games or something, they have all the stands are full of like cardboard cutouts of people, and there's someone just running it, and you know, someone's running down the court, they're running play, and then all of a sudden on the sidelines, people's faces just start popping up, and they have to figure out who it is and all kinds of things. That would be funny.
So you're saying add crowd distractions, peripheral distractions to make it more realistic for the players almost. Because you know, there's always distractions.
You got to have distractions, yeah.
Interesting.
All right, here's one. Well, this one's obvious. I've thought about this for a long time. Switch out the football in the NFL for a Nerf Turbo. Let them go 100-yard deep routes and just have. I've seen John Elway back in the day on the commercial literally throw it out of the stadium. So it'll make the game a lot better. Here's another one. You have, you know, like the ceremonial first pitch in baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You know, where like Jimmy Carter comes out.
Make it count.
It counts, and it's either a strike or a ball, or you just see some slugger take Jimmy Carter yard first pitch of the game. Ceremonial first pitch needs to count. It's ridiculous it doesn't.
I love that.
It's not a first pitch. It's not.
No, I threw out a first pitch once.
What?
Was it a strike?
Oh, it was terrible. It was at it's a AAA team here in Round Rock. But when I worked at the radio station, I went and threw the first pitch out once.
Jamie, how cool would it have been if that actually counted for the game?
Well, it would have been bad for whoever I was throwing for.
He just stared at you and just cranked it out of the stadium, just trotted around.
It was not a good first pitch.
It needs to count.
I love it. All right. So hit us up. You can reply at Relevant Podcast on Twitter, or if you're on Instagram, just send us a message to the Relevant Magazine Instagram account, and we will read your suggestions for jazzing up quarantine sports on next week's show. Well, many thanks to Dawn Porter for joining us. You can rent Good Trouble on Amazon, Apple, and other online rental platforms. And make sure to read the rest of our conversation with her at relevantmagazine.com. Also, thank you to John Kingston. You can check out American Awakening content every Monday at relevantmagazine.com. You can also check out the American Awakening podcast 3 times a week on the Relevant Podcast Network. And make sure to pick up his new book, American Awakening, when it releases July 28th. On that note, we'll wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Jamie Ivey.
And I'm Yeet.
We will see you next week. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, check out our Relevant Podcast Network, featuring shows like Relevant Daily, Signs of Life, Unedited, and many more launching throughout the year.
You're Dr. Calfart now. We're going to call you Dr. Calfart.
Relevant Podcast Network.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious.
That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care. Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.